Morning, Rebecca.
Morning.
We're looking today at PL2, so your professional networks and communities. QTS standard that the teacher has informed understanding of the contribution of research, including small-scale action research, development and practice. Can you tell me a bit first of all about your NQT year so far?
Yeah, so far my NQT year, I've spent quite a lot of time moving around different schools on supply, which has been really helpful. But I've also been doing a lot of research myself that I'm able to use in my own teaching practice. So I've done a couple of research projects looking at different children and different styles and patterns of behaviour. So I've done some observations during different lessons in different schools based on, classroom layout, the classroom climate, or the sanctions and rewards they're using. But I also then use my professional development time and I've delved into doing some research on certain theorists. So I've looked at behaviour management, the majority of my research. So I've looked at Tom Bennett, because he believes that children respect the teacher more when she has or he has control over the class. So I've looked at ways in how I can form positive trusting relationships where the children respect me and there's boundaries, so I'm able to control the class in a safe environment. And then I've also looked at Liz Williams, who says that behaviour is a skill they acquire through exploration of different situations. So I ensure that I'm aware that children learn through exploration and they have to learn from a positive role model as well. So I've looked at how I can implement that within my teaching practice in the classroom. And then I've gone from there then in the reward systems and sanctions that I've used myself.
That sounds excellent. And take us on to your PLE that I've seen written on your pill pad. It's talked about the research into your behaviourists then and how that's impacted on class. Can you tell us a bit about the small action research you've been doing in class?
Yeah, so in class I've just been looking a bit further into behaviour management and what works for my personal class, because obviously there's loads of different schemes and strategies, but they don't work for every single class. It depends on the children, the behaviour and the needs of the class. So I've inputted a general whole class reward system, which is golden minute. So we earn golden minutes throughout the week, but we can only earn those as a whole class. And then on a Friday, we have golden time in the afternoon, so it's rewards. So they can go on educational games and do things that they like there. So it's a bit more free choice. And then I've also looked at individual behaviour management strategies. So we've got the dojo point system. So then those individual children are able to earn points themselves. And then at the end of the week, we have a reward for the child that has the most dojo points. So I've just been doing my research on finding out the pros and cons for all the different types of behaviour management strategies. And that is why I've got an overall class. So it's a group incentive and individual, because sometimes some children can find it quite demotivating and demoralising just doing a whole class approach, because it means everybody in the class has to earn that golden minute. So I've looked at the pros and cons of both individual and group reward schemes, and I've combined them both, so I'm able to control my class and keep the behaviour at a low level and then bring the learning forward through my sanctions and reward schemes.
That sounds excellent. And you mentioned on the PLE that you'd seen this happen in some other schools during your NQT time. Can you tell us a bit about what you'd seen or what you'd talked to colleagues about in your previous placements?
Yeah, so on previous placements, there's loads of obviously different reward schemes that they put in place for their classes, depends on the year group of the students as well. So I've witnessed, we've had the dojo points, we've had golden minutes. We've also looked at things such as like reflection time, so they can reflect on their behaviour. I've also looked at carousels of different activities and how they can free flow the class to keep behaviour at a minimum, so everybody's occupied doing different activities. And we've also got such things as like the head teacher's rewards. So I then put a name forward, so every Friday, normally like an assembly, they would get rewarded for their good behaviour. So my experience as my NQT and on supply has helped massively, because I've been able to see a first-hand range of what I think works and don't work, and then how I can implement that best and look for that in my research.
That sounds excellent. And have there been any conversations with colleagues in various schools in your current school of how to improve behaviour management in the class?
Yeah, so I've had various conversations during my time as my NQT and also whilst here on here now. So I find it, in order to decide which strategy to use for your class, it's good to have a conversation with colleagues that's known those children for a long while, because they actually understand those children, know them more, so they know things that those children would like to be put in place or what wouldn't work for those children. And then they've also have given me knowledge of what they've done over the years which is beneficial for me because obviously being an NQT, I've done all my research, but sometimes when you research, it's different to when you put that research into practice. So they have first-hand experience of if they think something, has more, pros than the negatives to it. So that's been really helpful.
So you've mentioned that the research, the link to the action research, and you're currently trialling a reward system in class. What would be your evaluation of the last few weeks? Anything going well? Anything you'd like to change?
So the first week, I only used the group incentive. So we done the golden time. And then I did find that I thought it wasn't as fair because quite a lot of the children, which are quite quiet, a bit more reserved, don't really speak up or cause many problems in the day, they weren't getting recognised as much. So at the end of the week, I evaluated, which is why I then introduced the group dojos the week after. And as a whole, now we've been doing the group dojos and we've been doing golden time. And I feel like that works best. So we have best of both worlds. So I can reward the class as a whole. So they've been getting used to doing teamwork, good communication skills, their social skills, working together, taking turns, participating. And then the individual incentive then, I found that those children that normally sit back because they're quite shy or a little bit quieter than others who are quite loud and overpowering, but it's brought their confidence out because they want to get those social points. They're trying to be seen and heard, which is really lovely.
Brilliant. And is there anything looking forward in the research you'd like to trial next, or that you're looking into researching in more detail?
Yeah, so in more detail, I'd like to research some other theorists because I've done a critical analyst on the behaviour management in the class, and I've looked at what works, what don't, based on loads of different theorists, just your general theories like we've had Vygotsky, and then I've looked at focus more on Tom Bennett and Liz Williams, because those reward schemes have worked for me, because I understand that I've got to be a positive role model to control the class, which then brings up the behaviour, which is why I then introduce my sanctions and rewards. But I also want to look at things such as, I've used them before in other schools, when you have the lollipop sticks, so it has the name on, so it's a bit more cold calling as well. So that way then, the children that don't tend to put their hand up as much or show me, which we have here, I could just use the lollipop sticks cold calling. So the children would get used to, I'm not just picking them out. That is just generally what we're doing. And then it would bring, the behaviour would be in line then, because all the children would have an equal say, have an equal go. And then hopefully then that will bring their confidence out. And everybody won't be trying to shout over one another, and they'll keep their behaviour at a minimum, and then obviously they'll get their rewards such as their group tasks and their dojo points. So that's what I'd like to look for.
Using the cold calling well is giving the pupils a chance to achieve, even though they're maybe not feeling as confident.
Yeah.
So brilliant, thank you.
That's okay.